I really think that companies that are focused on that, even smaller companies, are going to end up crushing it because that's where we're going. There's no way to look at it other ways, in my opinion. I mean, we're going that direction.
Unstoppable podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
At the same time, they are, because we have the challenge, they have that ego. Okay, we all have egos as an entrepreneur because we won't be entrepreneurs. They have that ego that they created the company. They know the direction. They know exactly what to do, but they really don't know. I said, no,
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg, you have Mark Zuckerberg, you have Jeff Bezos, you have the Google guys. And I don't know, this is just a few stories that people read that they think that they can become from 0 to a billion straight away. But reality doesn't really work like that, right?
No, and in fact, I think you find a lot, and this is what I've found with a lot of clients, is that once you get to a certain point, I think the best way to have that conversation, I mean, you definitely don't want to walk into the founder's office and say, hey, you're not focused on the right things, focus on this instead. That probably won't end very well, especially if that's your boss, right? But I tend to like to look at things as here's what the customers are saying. And any company that I've entered and helped scale, we've immediately engaged in some sort of customer feedback programming. And that times, that'll at least give them the information from the customers. It's not coming from me. It's not my opinion. It's the customer's opinion that matters, right? And if the customers want something different than what your vision is, that's a little different because you got to follow the market. You got to follow your customers in a lot of ways. So I find that helps with those types of conversations. But yeah, it's always a little bit hairy, but that's to your point on entrepreneurs for a reason. They're very risk. They're okay with risk. They're excited about new things, and I think a lot of times it's relieving for them to, you can jump in, help them scale something. Hopefully, they make a boatload of money, and then they can go do something else, right?
Knowing what I know now, Brandon, and after starting several business from 0 to 1, I think I really like more, to just acquire an existing business. If you see there are business there that there is nothing wrong with the business. It's just they just got old, the children doesn't want to take the business, the owners are working in there the whole life and just they want to pass the baby to someone responsible that at least can keep the certain amount of growth so the employees have worked like this. And knowing what I know now, I think that it is way less risk to acquire a business and to grow it that actually start a new one from 0 to 1. Yet everyone wants to be a founder, everyone to start the new company, the new business, without
Yeah.
having in consideration of the that takes, and nobody knows how long it will take you to make this product market fit. What I'm saying, Brandon, knowing what I know now, but because if you don't have any business and you never scale one, you will never be able to find the common factors. So which one, startups or existing business?
That's a
If
that's a
you need
tough
to
one
start
because
today, what would you prefer to do?
if I
Why
was gonna,
and
if
why
I
and
if I
why?
had, yeah, if I had all the knowledge I do now, and someone just said, "Hey, you got to start over," I would probably acquire a business because you get all the skills from starting a business from scratch. So I do think it's important in a lot of cases to start a business from scratch because it really helps you to appreciate the grind that goes into that and some of the nuance with each different phase of the business. But I'll give you an example. One of my business ventures is gyms. I own fitness studios, and building one from the ground up and spending all that money to build one and just acquiring one from somebody that, maybe it's not doing so well and they need a little help, or even one that's doing great and just acquiring one that way, much less of a headache, right? And so I think my preference is probably to buy one. But, look, when you're starting something from scratch, you don't have a lot of cash. I mean, there's a lot of ways to buy businesses with no cash, but if you don't have any cash and you're looking to start something and you feel really strongly about it, I think go for it. I mean, you're going to learn a lot. I always joke with people that I mentor. But look, starting a business is like getting your own little MBA, right? You just don't have to spend $300,000 at Stanford to do it. So, there's benefits to starting a business from scratch just from the knowledge that you gain from it.
Yeah. So Brandon, regarding business and scaling up, there isn't any particular sector that you say that is your favorite, or when it comes to business, as soon as the numbers are good for you, it's okay if there is the health space, in the tech space, or real estate, or you actually can tell me, no, Harry, look, I like businesses and I'm good at scaling up all of them, but anything related with fitness, health, that is something that I'm feel more comfortable, because I hear that scaling up, if you also have experience in some specific, could make the journey easy, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I'll give the viewers kind of an idea of me is that I started my first business. So I was a partner in the media firm, and then that media firm merged with a company, and that was my exit. And my first business, just me, was a fitness studio. And so, the nice thing about getting back into the fitness studio space is that's what I had done for 10 years prior to joining the marketing firm. So I think if you know the business that you're getting into, it does, to your point, make it a lot easier. The sales process, the margins, ideally, the expenses work, how the customers interact, and maybe kind of what they want at that point, right? So there's just less room for error than if you're entering a completely new sector that you know nothing about. Now, with that said, I think I look at investments far different than I look at businesses that I'm managing on my own. So where I'm looking at a lot of investment is certainly in the like tech and services sectors, because right now, at least in the US, there's all this tariff stuff going on, and who actually knows what's going to end up happening. And so from an investment standpoint, I like areas that don't have to worry about all that. There's always something here or there, and the stock market is trending pretty well right now. But so that's kind of my thought process from an investment standpoint. But as far as businesses that I get into and actually put my time into, it's always usually in like the fitness wellness space, because I'm very well versed in that. It's part of my life. It's part of my core values. I stay healthy. I work out every day. I feel comfortable selling it, and all know sales is probably the number one skill in any business that you need. And I feel really good about selling fitness to somebody. It's not a new pair of shoes. It's not a Rolex. It's fitness. And I know that that's going to person's life. So I get really excited about that versus, what's the new cool wearable that is on Tech Street now, right? So that's probably where I spend most of my personal time, but not all of my investment time.
Yeah, investment versus growing a company is completely different dynamic, because exactly what you described, growing and scaling up a company, if you have a sector that you specialize, that you're comfortable selling, you're more likely to have to come across with a better marketing strategy, know the numbers, the margins. If and not necessarily have to be gyms, right? Could be, I don't know, a supplement, a new tool to do exercise, something for lose weight. The other day in broadcast, in previous interviews, one guy shared that he was doing a conference for a lot of cryptocurrency, a health guy, yeah, fitness instructor, doing a conference for a crypto wealthy people. And he said, okay, how much are you going to make? And let's say the people said 1 million. Okay, fine. Would you like to make 10x that, but you will have diabetes also? And nobody raised their hand. Do you want to have 10 times this money and have, a heart condition because so much fat in your blood, and you might have a heart attack, but you will have 10 times money? Raise your hand who wants that. And everybody was so quiet. He said there was a big silence in the room. So yeah, there is priceless. It's a product. Nobody paying too much attention to the health and the fitness until something happens. And exactly, it's something that is aligned to your core value. However, investing is a different kind of animal altogether, because this is in a process that you is you're not changing your time for money, your money can work for you.
Yep.
And of course, you want the biggest return with the lowest risk as possible. And tech, one of the out of the 500 millionaires that went in this podcast, 1 or 5 are property entrepreneurs, and the other ones are tech entrepreneurs, millionaires. So clearly,
Yep.
tech have a large chance, to good chance if the founders are good, if the product is good, a large chance to scale and have a big valuation. So Brandon, tell us what do you as an investor in tech space? We have a lot of startup founders that listen podcasts, some of them from Silicon Valley with an amazing ideas. So what do you see in to invest in a tech company? Okay, what are you expecting from the founder, and what would be your most important elements that you will look at?
One thing I look a lot is how founders see around corners. I like to use the example of Elon Musk, and it's an easy one to use because everybody knows Elon, right? But like, there's something about Elon, whether you like him or not. I know at least in the U.S., he's been very involved in politics lately. However, the guy can see around corners. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's been able to turn around businesses, effectively took over Twitter and cut 80% of the costs associated with it. And there's not a huge difference in Twitter's product anymore. Some people might argue with me about that, but what I like to look at, and I'll give you an example of one company I've had my eye on that we just invested in, Figma. They just IPO'd a few days ago in the US on the New York Stock Exchange. And it's actually a company that is a software graphic design company that competes with Adobe. A couple of years ago, the United States blocked it actually from being purchased by Adobe. So they stood on their own, and now they're their own company. They just IPO'd. They were expected to IPO for $33 per share, and they IPO'd for $85 per share. Yeah. And now they're exploding. Yeah, it's incredible.
Very impressive. Wow.
Yeah. And the reason I think that that company and a lot of other companies are doing that is because of the real focus on that a lot of companies have. And I think that I hear different, I listen to a lot of other media, and I hear a lot of people kind of sleeping on AI, for lack of a better term. They're kind of just, hey, I think it's cool, but I don't think it's really going to change the world. And my opinion is that it already is. The companies that are even talking about AI have way higher market caps, have way higher evaluations than the companies that aren't. So I think for me, that's what I look at in any company, no matter what they do. Is there an eye for technology? Is there, capital expenditure budgeting for AI? Are they building part of their business, or are they ignoring it? So any company for me that has that being built out is a check mark. And Figma, I think, is something that everyone should look at. Again, I have decided to invest in it. I have to say that right. But I really think that companies that are focused on that, even smaller companies, are going to end up crushing it, because that's where we're going. There's no way to look at it other ways, in my opinion. I mean, we're going that direction.
Follow us for more interviews with the world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.